Welcome to my studio. Welcome to Painting Discourse. I'm again going to be working on the fragment from the larger piece that I'm working on. This is probably 20th or 30th video that I'm working on, where I'm working on that fragment. So I don't really want to go into specifics. If you'd like to know more about the painting and the reason why I'm painting it and all the other information that became really repetitive, you can check out the previous videos either on YouTube or on Twitch. I stream on both platforms, so please do so, check it out. I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to waste that much time about in this introduction talking about the stuff that I've already talked a million times. But just a quick recap for those of you who kind of paint along with me, working on your own projects, do your own creative work, and using this as a background. That's probably the best way to enjoy this stream. A lot of information is going to be repetitive. A lot of things I'm going to say multiple times throughout the stream. So ideally you grab your pencils, brushes, I don't know, paints, whatever creative tools do you use in order to create a work of art. For me specifically, it's painting. I paint with oil. So I'll have my oil painting materials here, which I will go quickly over in a second. The reason why I want you to paint along is that this is not your classical kind of a step-by-step, paint-by-number video. That's plenty of this kind of videos and streams online. I recommend you to check them all if you have that capability or ability or that amount of time. This is something more about, this is something more for people that really wants to paint, not only educate themselves in the subject. And that's the reason why I think of this as a painting discourse. This is a debate, this is an exploration where you can see all my mistakes that I'm doing with this particular fragment, this piece of art that I have here. I wouldn't even call it piece of art, this painting. That's probably more than enough for the introduction. So let's get into my materials. As always, I have a palette. Quickly, these are oils. I start with titanium white and end with ivory black. I have my colors organized in a kind of a color wheel scheme. That means that I'm going through yellows, oranges, reds, purples, blues, greens, and then all the way back to yellows. It's a really very standard setup. The one thing that I have on my palette though, and I would like to talk about a bit, is that this is not only tonal, but also not a tonalist palette, neither colorist palette, but kind of a hybrid of both. So you can see that I have yellows that they are darker and lighter, but I have also yellows divided between warmer and cooler. Not necessarily on the palette, but I'm really thinking about a warmer and cooler variant of every pigment or hue, to be more specific. So that's that. The only thing that I will tell about my colors is that I'm not really thinking about brands. So because I have many people and fellow artists and students asking me that what kind of paint I prefer, what kind of brand should I buy, whichever one suits your purposes. That's the answer. So the only thing that I the only rule that I have is that I would stay away from cheap pigments. The kind of artist, not that kind of student grade paints, they tend to have a lot of fillers and very little pigment. And I'm looking, in my paints, I'm looking for the most amount of pigments and then least amount of fillers, stabilizer, and so on and so forth. Another thing that I'm looking for in a paint, it's the way how paint behave. That means if it's whether it's transparent or opaque, also whether how it mixes with other colors. The opacity or transparency is also linked to a chroma. That means that how much white I can add into, I don't know, red before it completely loses its chroma. That's another way that it's very, very important for me. And I know that some of you are Munsell's fans, so, or Munsell color theory. So that's something that it's really, really important for me. That's for colorists. And then I have the tonalist way of thinking, that I have a lighter and darker variant. I also have a lighter, warmer, cooler variant, and same goes for dark pigments as well. That's basically how I think about it, about my painting. And when I paint, the thought process is that when I'm applying a brush stroke, I'm asking myself, should it be cooler or warmer, or more chromatic or less chromatic? Should it be darker or lighter? And it's in the right place? Is it right shape? And is it proper texture? That's what it's in my head every time when I place the brush stroke. So that's about the pigments. That's not really anything else to say about that. So, and if you want more information, there are videos that I talk specifically. I do some little mixtures and show the process in my head. How do I mix these colors? So you can check them online. And there is plenty other painters that do a great job in explaining how to mix colors properly. My medium, very simple. It's a linseed oil and mineral spirits, odorless. So that's that. I think and follow only couple rules. The first one was about the pigments not being cheap, and the second one is that I'm really being careful about the rule fat over lean. That's for just a simple rule that I keep in mind, because I want to stay the layers bond to each other and don't chip away and destroy the painting. So that's that. Then brushes, I use cheap brushes because I use canvases that are very, very rough and very sandpaper-like textures, so I damage them a lot by just simple application. You will see that. You'll see me paint, so you'll see how much I damage brushes by applying a paint. I don't really paint like this with these nice, careful brush strokes. That's not the way how I think about the paint, because that's how I paint walls and that's how I paint fence on my backyard. It's not about painting. I was taught in the academy. My master was talking about that kind of a brushwork and application and the motion and using brushes to its limit rather than just protecting them. That's why I stopped purchasing expensive brushes, because I buy them in bulk, really in the big kind of a household. It's not the household. What I want to say in the store with warehouse. That's what I was looking for. In the warehouse, these are household brushes. That's what I wanted to say. These are household brushes. You can find them in the cheap warehouse stores with painting supplies. I don't really get them in the art supply store. But by all means, if you have a chance to get a nice, beautiful, expensive brushes that you feel the balance of the handle and kind of a nice feel to it, please go and get them. For me, it's not a thing. I don't really need them. I use my fingers. I use palette knife. I use kitchen utensils to paint. I use sandpaper. So I'm not really that kind of interested in the brushes. So that's that. And then I have my books. I have a couple main painters that I really enjoy, and I look for answers in their work, and then with the Rembrandt, Caravaggio, Velázquez, Titian would be probably the group of painters that I have on standby right here. And the reason is that whenever I'm in doubt about myself and what I'm working on or what I'm doing, I look into Rembrandt's book, and I'm trying to think what would Rembrandt do, and I'm trying to find a answer in his painting, because I'm pretty sure that he struggled with the same things that I do, maybe on a different level, not maybe, I'm sure on a different level, way higher level, but still the question is the same and answer is the same. The application and the brushwork it's different, obviously. So that's that. And then I have a digital medium. So I work with my tablet. And I use that tablet because it's easier for me to keep things in the smaller, kind of a smaller package, because I had plenty of, let me grab my example. I had plenty of just loose papers with a lot of examples with anatomy, copies, reproductions from the books of great masters, and I just find out this being really difficult to spread all over the wall, and then it was like a visual pollution, like a visual distraction. I could not judge the edges of my painting properly because I saw kind of a portrait there, and then I composed, and I was thinking about the composition with the portrait in the behind, so I decided to use the digital files. So, and it feels it's more organized, but it isn't in my case. But you should be able to organize them if you so choose. So that's about it. Let's get right into painting and into what I'm gonna work on today. I'm gonna be working on that portrait. Again, it's kind of dry, and when I say kind of dry, it means that it's a touch dry. So that's time for me to work with on it a little bit more. So I kind of pushed and pressed the color or the pigment into canvas, and it's kind of a technique. I don't even think it's a technique. It kind of brings the colors a little bit closer to each other. And I'm looking at the portrait right now, and I'm assessing it, and I'm asking myself the same thing that I always do: the size compared to hands to feet, the size of a head compared to these heads, the position, the overall feeling. Does it work, or it goes against the composition? And all these questions actually started earlier today in the morning when I get into studio. My first look goes immediately to painting. So I enter the door, and you know, I look at the painting. I get myself into that kind of a mindset that this is the fresh kind of a look on my canvas. This is a kind of a fresh pair of eyes, or someone not biased is looking at it. What's wrong with it? What needs to be adjusted? What needs to be changed, improved, or what's okay, what works and should stay there. So and again, I am not satisfied with the facial features, and I'm not satisfied with the expression of his face. He seems very old and rugged, and kind of like underdeveloped compared to this. So I'm going to continue working on it, only to then destroy it, because I'm going to push it back into a background and going to probably lay paint over him, either dry brush it or do a little bit of glazing. I'm not sure yet. Probably it's going to be dry brush rather than just glazing. So yeah, and again, I have my Rembrandt ready with some kind of a, I don't know if you can see it, but there is a picture. And that's a picture, actually, portrait of a young woman with a lap dog. Okay, so probably not probably, she's holding a dog in her lap. And I know that this is female, and I know that this is supposed to be male. But what I'm looking for is that kind of a execution or brushwork and paint application that Rembrandt used, rather than just copying. And that's when I mentioned that I use him as a kind of a guide to answers. I don't just take his portraits and trying to recreate his portraits. I'm trying to learn from why he did a certain, I don't know, the lighter value, darker value, to how a hair kind of connect to a skull, or actually to a skin. Where are the edges, the transitions between background and foreground, or the background and the face. These are the things that I'm looking at, and trying to use it in my portrait as well. Since this is experimentational painting, and by experimental, is that even a word? I don't know. This is experiment. So like I mentioned before, this face is handled differently, this face is handled differently, and this face is handled differently. By handled differently, I mean I use different techniques, because I'm looking for the best technique to describe or represent that thought that I want to communicate with viewer. So that's way more important for me than style. So I don't really care about the style and execution. You know, you have these kind of perfect styles in certain painters, and people like to look at it, people like to buy it, people like to purchase it. It's awesome, it's great, but it wouldn't work for this particular painting. This is a historical painting, and it's part of kind of a. It represents history of my country, very, very old history, and that's why I chose a different approach to this. And I want to exhaust every possible skill that is there to find the exact handling and application and feeling to say. Sometimes I bore myself to death. What I'm trying to, in other words, what I'm trying to say is that I'm not trying to copy style of other painters. I'm not trying to find my own style. I'm trying to find the best way to represent and communicate the thought and the idea that it's behind this painting. And I previously talked about the composition, how composition is important. And I think I mentioned Vincent Desiderio, which is one of the most influential painters of today, still living, still painting. And he talked about that he talked about technical narrative, and it really stuck with me, and I 100%, he actually put the words to what I thought, and I'm really grateful for that, because that's actually what I really enjoy in works of Rembrandt, that technical narrative. You can see how much he explored the limitations of the paint textures and different feelings, so through that brushwork and paint application. So that's why they might look, or every one of them different, like they belong to a different painting or different era. This is exploration. I'm not afraid to make mistakes, neither should you. So enough talking, and let's paint. I'm gonna correct his facial features. I'm really going to get into that portrait, and I think I'll have to I must put it I need to put it a little I need to put it down from my easel because I can't really push it lower. So I'm right here, but I don't want to just paint and zoom into that area. I still want to go back and forth with while I'm painting. And I'm not going to use wine charcoal today because there's a lot of paint going on. I know that I'm going over with my hand. The reason is I'm testing where it's still wet, where it's touch dry, and where the paint was not applied in previous layer. I'm going to adjust the shadows. It's going to be a first order of business today. And I have a sketch here that I'm looking at, and the anatomy, and you can see that I still have a skull ready to be deployed because I'm looking for some anatomical references, and this is probably the best way to work on the portrait. I know that you can have a picture, but I can feel actually, because this is a replica of another replica, this is actually a cast of a real human skull, and I can see the protrusions, I can see the anatomy, and I can see how it works in the light in the different positions. So I have it always with me. And I can always refer back to it if I so choose, or if I need on top of actual anatomical references and sketches and a Rembrandt that is on the side. So So these are going to be really small adjustments at the beginning. I just want to create a nice kind of a shadow shape for eye sockets, a nose, the upper lip, the upper lip, and the bottom of the mouth. I want it to be anatomically correct, and I want it to be also proportionally correct. And by proportions, I mean the size of the head, with size of the hand, with size of the feet, with and I mentioned last time that I'm not sure, but probably I'm going to give him a beard. So that's what I'm working on right now. Trying to figure out where the beard is going to be and how it's going to affect I think that I might have to push the nose even higher here because it seems it's too long. And then I see that there is a really, really harsh transition right here. And then I'm looking at Rembrandt's painting, and there is a really nice soft transition. So these are the things that I would really look for. In the work of Rembrandt. And I really love that soft transition between the cheek and the front plane and the side plane. These transitions are so beautiful, and then reflected light is just absolutely beautiful. So what if I push his beard this way right here? And I am applying a paint right now the same way that I would work with my charcoal stick. Is just see, I think this is better. I think that beard really helped him to be a little bit more rugged. I should probably make it a little thicker. And this is why I said that this would be easier, not easier. It would be more beneficial to paint alongside with me, because this is not necessarily a video about how to paint the face. I assume that most of you already know how to do it, and what we do, or what I do, it's I'm exploring the possibility. And that's not a shadow, so that was a mistake. It's a half tone. So I want to cool it a little bit. Rather than just cool it, I should say I wanted to neutralize it. And I think that his forehead, I know that I promised you to make him kind of balding. I think I made him a little too bold, or actually right now it seems that his forehead is way too big compared to his face. So a little bit more this way. And I'm making these variations between warm and cool. Depends on whether I'm thinking about half tone, or very, very dark half tone, or form shadow, or cast shadow, or occlusion. And then, or simply if I want to make layer, or the previous layer, darker or lighter. And you see dabbing my finger on the canvas. That's the way when I said that I love to paint with the finger, because I'm kind of softening that edge without mushing colors together. See, this is a good time for me to grab my skull and really think of that glabella. And where is the light? Where's the shadow? Where's the change of a plane? Where the bone meets the meet where the bone meets the skin and creates kind of a sharper transition. And this needs to go darker because this is the that's the plane that it's turning away from the light. I'm slowly developing that face. I'm slowly trying to find my way around. I'm not applying a lot of paint because I'm working a little bit more transparently. And I'm trying to right now create a kind of a main map of his face. I'm using some sketches, some imagination, and then as you can see I have the skull right here and the Rembrandt next to it, to kind of determine certain things. And I'm keeping everything soft. There are not really a sharp edges there, because I don't think it's necessary at this stage. Plus, as I mentioned before, compositionally, it works better. Since I'm trying to apply atmospheric perspective, so this is the main focal point, these two figures, and this is in the back. I know it's right now it competes for attention. I'm not worried about this right now. I just want to make sure that it's the exact expression and the exact feel. To push this darker. I'm trying to unify that shadow. I know this is difficult for you to see, these tiny changes and shifts, but trust me, they're there. Sometimes when I mix the colors, I have to believe I know that I put a little bit more white into it. That means that it has to be lighter. It doesn't matter that my eye cannot see it, the shift, when it mixes on the palette, but I will certainly see it when I place it there and step back. A little more of that half tone. So all of this is in half tone. And again, you might ask, why do I always go back and forth so far away? I can see the face in its entirety, but I cannot see the whole painting, so I have to step back and I have to assess it from a distance, how much it changed the overall feel this definitely helped to create that kind of a side plane, and I need to create the same idea. A little lighter though, here on this side. And again, it's not really that big of a shift in the value, but I can see it with my eyes. I don't know if it's visible on. And I need to put this a little darker. I'm barely using a paint. These are really small adjustments. That's a really harsh line, and then I'm looking at the Rembrandt painting. It's kind of a soft transition between this and the hair, so I need to soften that. Still way too much. So I'm going to add a little bit of a lighter value. But maybe I should grab a soft brush and maybe dry brush it there, so still want to see the transition, but I want it to be softer. Because I want to show the continuous transition between hair, skull, or hair, skin, and the part of the skull that it's really kind of on the surface of that. Yeah, this is a little better. But I think I should bring the chrome a little bit higher. So this is the kind of a idea of, I don't want to make it more yellow, I want to make it more chromatic when I'm adding yellow, because it's still a lighter value, but higher chroma than just the white pigment. right now you can see that how I softened that really, really hard edge there to create that kind of continuous turning form turning away from us. And this is really a slow process, so that's another thing that I like about these streams, is that you can see me working, not sitting. A lot of this is just going back and forth and exploring and manipulating and doing really minute or small, rather, adjustments that they barely make sense. But they do. On the long run. Or in the long run, on the long run. I don't remember what's the proper. Soften it here as well, because it was sticking out way too much. And maybe I should push this a little bit more. Okay, so let me grab a little bit of that. Kind of a background color. A little bit less hair on this side. Yeah. And maybe push a little this way. Okay. And right now these adjustments are not only anatomical, but I'm looking for the composition. I'm looking whether or not it helps or destroys the composition. So this should maybe go slightly more in. this is the damage of brushes that I'm talking about. Okay, they're kind of a and then see I disconnected it, and right now I'm trying to add kind of a suggestion of the hair, or of hair rather, of his hair, that's what I wanted to say. Back with a little bit of a kind of a background color, so it kind of creates that soft transition. And again, I'm looking at my skull and those protrusions and bones, and it's really helping me when I work from imagination. A little bit of that lower lid, and then soften it, connecting it again, and then adjusting it. To show these transitions as a soft transition. It's something that when you really look at Rembrandt and his work, there is no sharp edges around the eyes and in eyes, and they're still looking very, very sharp. It's really interesting to see how he can create. Okay, let's correct that eyelid, because it seems that the eye just doesn't, should go this way. So again, I'm trying to connect the shadow or dark values rather together. very, very soft transitions. Again, adjusting the nose a little bit. Since I have a better understanding where the other parts of the, and maybe it should go a little closer to here. Okay. Let's make it a little bit more this way, and then it should be a lighter value. Connecting, disconnecting, connecting, disconnecting, and I really need to connect right now with a softer transition, this right here. So the nose looks three-dimensional. Because even though we have a three-quarter view of his face, I can still see the far side of his nose. Disconnecting. It's the name of the game right now. This way, and then maybe I could cut it right here. turn this away from us. So I'm going to soften this a little bit again. In the background and dry brush. So that kind of, that cheek that goes away from us gradually disappeared into the background. And he's slowly starting to fit into the environment. Okay. Okay, cool. This way, and right now I have to show that transition between the bone and the cartilage. And maybe do something that everybody likes to do, that create that kind of a suggestions for highlights. Let me just squeeze a little bit of paint there. Or not paint, but a different type of medium. Did I just... There's a little bit of... Okay, one more time. It's a little bit of texture there. It's a little too much here. It should go this way. And I should push this a little bit that way. Okay. And again, I'm adjusting the nose a little bit. I'm not creating a lot of changes there. And I'm mapping a little bit of these light areas on his face there, so I can create even more volume there. And I'm adding right now a little bit more texture there. This way and that way. Okay. So I moved the nose a little bit because it felt like it's way too big or protruding way too much forward. And I still have to correct the eye. So let me do that real quick. This should go this way. Okay, a little lighter. Chroma. Darker value. Oops. Yep. This is a really, really slow process of painting, but it's necessary for me to a little bit more chroma. A little darker. And warmer. So it's going to this way. Awesome. And another thing is that it's kind of a part of doing painting like this that nobody's going to ever know or see. Not nobody. 99% of that work that you are putting into this kind of painting will ever be seen. And that's okay. A little bit of that. I wanted to show that glabella. That anatomical landmark a little bit more. And so it creates a little bit more of that interest on the face. It shows that top part, or the plane that it's facing A. And right now what bothers me is that he has a lot of light on the chin. And if you remember, I was talking about that atmospheric perspective. So if this is my focal point, so everything that goes that way into background and down into background, because this is the part that protrudes the most towards us, if you think about the face as a cube, and the nose a little bit. But this should be darker. So let me just make it a little darker. This transition a little softer. All right. Yeah, I think that this is actually a right position for his face. I think it's right position for his eyes. Maybe I should push this eye a little bit more towards here. Maybe I could push this a little bit. No, I think it's okay. Maybe adjust this a little bit. Okay. So we have a bottom eyelid and the transition between the bone and soften it a little bit with a little bit of a saturation and value, and then again, this is why that skull is so important, and I have a bunch of anatomy pull up here as well, and that's just way easier to work that way. And the softer value again. And one more thing, they should be pushed a little higher. Okay. And you can really see how that portrait changed. Maybe and a little bit more of a beard right here. Kind of just to darken it a little bit. Yeah. And adjust that bottom lip a little bit. This is the darker part, which is to underneath the going to be a place where the lip is sitting, and let's place that little bit of a light value on the bottom part of the lip, or bottom lip, top this is difficult for me to say, bottom lip, but it's a top plane on the bottom lip that I was placing the lighter value there. just a little light that it's catching on that upper lip right here. And a soft transition. And then a little bit softer edge right here. And then a little okay, and maybe a little bit of hair. So I don't want to give him the full kind of beard, just a something that happens to me. that it just, it looks like a goatee all the time because it just, I don't have a full cool full beard. Okay. Yeah, and I should put more saturation. I should saturate, really push the saturation on his nose. Okay, and a little bit on his ear. Cool, a little bit here. A little bit here, okay. Okay, and then the last thing that I want to work on, it's a little bit of texture on his forehead. Maybe a little softer transition right here, but I don't want to. Perhaps. Maybe a little bit more of this. A little bit of this sienna. Right here. Like an in-between step. thinking that, oops, maybe I should put a little bit more of that beard right here. So this was, you could see what I mean when I say that I damage my brushes a lot. So this is the way how I love to paint, and there's no brush that can survive this kind of damage and abusement. Okay, so we are probably very close to what I wanted to do here with this painting. Just load this brush one more time, and maybe, do I have a reference somewhere for the neck muscles? I could put this into a light. Yeah. Into this a little bit, so there is a clear distinction between ear and the side of the head and the bottom part where the neck is connecting. So let me just adjust that as well, so I kind of have a clear idea where the ear is. And if it's sticking out, whether or not it's sticking out too much, maybe it's sticking out too much, I don't know. It's not that important yet. needs to be a little cooler and a little more. And a little more chroma. Okay, I think it's enough with the face for today. Maybe I could adjust this a little bit. Nose. Or rather the shadow under the nose. Okay. Yep. I don't know what's happening with me today, but I'm dropping everything from my hands. Cool. So I think this is enough with the portrait for today, and as you can see, the sun is again working against me today. Starting to shine on my canvas, so I'll stop right here for today. I think we made a nice progress today, and I will again wait till this sets. The paint kind of connects together a little bit, and tomorrow I again press on that paint, so it kind of, you know, pushes and merges even closer, and then again I can wait a little bit till it's kind of a sticky, kind of a touch dry, just a little bit, and then I might just put the wash over the whole face, and that will kind of help me to push it back into the background. So all the stuff that I've been working on right now is just gonna disappear. Yep, it's fun, isn't it? Soften the neck a little bit. Yeah, I'm looking from a distance. It looks okay. The shadows are a little bit too dark, but that's okay. I will be able to then correct it with a wash. Or it's not going to be on wash. I think I'm going to dry brush it over. Yeah, that will be it for today. I'm still looking at the, let me just correct this a little bit. I describe this particular type of working. I'm kind of ironing that paint. Ironing in, I don't know. Yeah, let's go with this. I'm ironing in that paint. I'm kind of pressing it down. But I don't want it to scrape it away. I want it to stay there. I just want, I want it to be smooth rather than just textured. Yeah. Okay, that will be it for today. So I was working with dry brush and kind of that scambling technique a lot. I was working with direct paint that I was applying it onto a canvas, and I was also working with a with that idea of connecting and disconnecting things, and they kind of give me feel of unity, but I was varying the temperatures and chromas and edges. That's everything that Rembrandt did extremely carefully and successfully, and kind of a master brush strokes that he placed there. So you might see, or it's hard to say, or hard to see it on the camera, but I put a lot of adjustments there with that brushwork. So this is something that I would like to leave you with, is that these might be a really small adjustments, but as long as they help you to get closer to that feeling or that representation of that idea that you want to communicate with viewer, it's worth it. I don't know if it's going to work tomorrow, but today, right now, I'm looking at it and I'm satisfied in terms of the goal that I set to myself for today. I'm not satisfied overall because I did very little today, or it might seem that I did very little, but that's that process of creating a painting step by step and creating that technical narrative, for me at least. So I hope that you worked alongside with me and you progressed with your artwork, and I hope to see you soon again. Take care. Bye.